Hey everyone, my name is Jonna, but you can call me JJ because all of my friends do. I just got back from a place that a few months ago I had never even heard of. And now it's one of the most spectacular places I have ever visited. I'm talking about Chichen Itza. A few months ago, my daughter announced that she wanted to visit Chichen Itza in an attempt to fulfill her goal of visiting the 7 wonders of the New World. Visiting Chichen Itza was not at the top of my list. In fact, it wasn't even on my list. I'm being entirely truthful, I had never heard of it. Since we do a mother-daughter trip every year, she asked if I wanted to go and see this wonder with her. And of course, I did want to go, but knowing absolutely nothing about the location, how to get there, or what to expect, I agreed. But I quickly followed that up with an email to Carlina Capi, owner and destination specialist at St. Adventures Travels. Now, can you get to Chichen Itza on your own? Of course. I can also build a stone retaining wall if I do enough research, but why would I want to go through all of that when there are landscaping experts out there ready and willing to do the work for me? Well, it's the same with planning a trip like this, but Carlina made the process so easy. Within a few days, she had emailed us a potential itinerary. We looked it over and said it was perfect. Following that, we received a multi-page packet full of details that would make our trip even easier, all the way down to what kind of outlets to expect in the hotel. My daughter lives in Orlando, so it only made sense to fly from there. We purchased tickets on JetBlue, and since we were only going for a few days, we took a carry-on bag. With minimal baggage and TSA pre-check, we quickly found our way through security and found ourselves in the new Terminal C at MCO. We found a fantastic restaurant on the 2nd floor overlooking the main terminal where we could kill plenty of hours. Once on the plane, our flight time was less than 2 hours, and we arrived in Cancun mid-afternoon. St. Adventures had arranged private transportation, and the company had reached out just a few days prior with instructions on how and where to meet our driver. They said that we were to go to the welcome bar just outside the terminal, and our driver would be there waiting with a sign. This was easier said than done. The area outside the terminal is a zoo. There were group tour drivers trying to corral large parties and get them to move in one direction. Multiple private transport companies chatting to each other while waiting for their clients. Taxi drivers at every turn asking if you needed a ride. Security officers moving through this bedlam to ensure that order was being kept. And dozens upon dozens of tourists who were there for the first time with no clue what to do, where to go, how to get where they were going, and so they're just milling about in confusion. Luckily, it didn't take long for our driver to spot us and lead us out of the chaos to the quiet comfort of the SUV that was to be our transport to the hotel, which was approximately 35 minutes away. The ride there was swift and uneventful, except for the last 15 minutes where we traversed through the section that was home to several restaurants, shops, resorts, and nightclubs with signs proclaiming that they were better than Las Vegas nightlife. That slow pace just gave us a chance to see everything. St. Adventures had arranged for us to stay at the Dream Sands Cancun Resort and Spa. The first thing I noticed about our hotel was the presence of security. Let's face it, Mexico has a reputation. At the time of our travel, the Cancun area was under a level 2 travel advisory. Exercise increased caution. However, our hotel was gated with a security guard that signed all visitors in and out. Upon our arrival at the gate, I had to present ID before we could even be admitted. As soon as we entered the reception area, I was pleased with the beautiful aesthetic of this beachside hotel. A porter took our bags and we were escorted to the preferred lounge on the 1st floor where a concierge checked us in and then proceeded to make dinner and spa reservations to ensure that our stay there would be the best experience possible. The all-inclusive resort has many dining options, but the highlights of our trip was El Patio, the authentic Mexican cuisine, and Mitsu, Pan-American cuisine. I cannot say enough about the service at either of these restaurants. Every need was attended to before we could even ask. Our glasses were never empty, and our servers treated us as if we were the only diners in the room. At El Patio, we started with chips and a variety of dips, which was followed with chicken enchiladas, each with a different sauce. For dessert, we ordered tres leches cake, and our server also surprised us with souffle, which was beyond delightful. At Himitsu, we sat at the hibachi table, and our meal began with servings of sushi, followed by fried rice. By the time we were ready to eat the proteins and veggies from the grill, I was so full I could barely eat half of the incredible food that was on my plate. The meal ended with tempura fried ice cream. Because it was my daughter's birthday, the manager gathered the servers together to sing and present a special cake. The trip to Chichen Itza was about 2 hours and 40 minutes west of Cancun with toll stops along the way. However, Sade Adventures had provided private transportation for us along with an English-speaking guide for our trip inland. This was so convenient and allowed us the chance to enjoy our surroundings as our guide pointed out things of cultural significance along the way, even taking the time to drive us through Mayan villages. Upon arriving at Chichen Itza, our driver dropped us off at the entrance. We still had a significant walk in to see the ruins, but our guide kept up a running commentary as we went. Still, I was unprepared for the exquisite architecture that suddenly loomed before us. It was easy to see why Chichen Itza had been inducted as one of the 7 wonders of the New World in 2007. The complexity of the main pyramid, the palace, the court where they played ball, and all of the other buildings was truly a marvel to behold. It offered such a captivating glimpse into ancient Mayan civilization. The main pyramid, El Castillo, is the icon of Chichen Itza, and it's probably the image that comes to mind when someone mentions the ancient grounds. The pyramid serves as an example of the Mayans' advanced understanding of astronomy and engineering. It is intricately linked to the Mayan calendar and even influenced how we keep time today. It is said that during the spring and fall equinoxes, the positioning of the sun casts shadows on the pyramid's staircase, creating the illusion of a serpent descending, a representation of the feathered serpent deity Kukulkan. Our guide was a masterful storyteller, explaining the significance in the numbers used during the building process of the various edifices, demonstrating the acoustics of the ball court, and explaining the etymology behind the names of the city and the gods. I was thankful for his expertise because all of the reference signs were in Spanish, a language I barely read and speak even less of. I also felt lucky to have our guide because there were many large groups that contained dozens of people and their guides were having to shout to be heard. Our group was composed of myself, my daughter, and our tour guide, who was extremely attentive and answered all of our questions with ease. What is a cenote? That was the first question that escaped my lips when I saw our itinerary. Essentially, a cenote is a sinkhole formed by the collapse of limestone bedrock, which then reveals a pool of groundwater beneath it. These sinkholes can vary greatly in size and shape, ranging from small, shallow pools to large, deep bodies of water. Cenotes hold significant ecological and cultural importance in the Yucatan Peninsula, especially to the ancient Maya civilization. They served as vital water sources in an area where surface water is pretty scarce. Additionally, cenotes were often considered sacred by the Maya and believed to be entrances to the underworld or portals to the realm of the gods. As such, they were frequently used for religious ceremonies, offerings, and rituals. The grounds of Chichen Itza contain a sacred cenote that was used for religious purposes and for human sacrifice. Located only 5 minutes away from Chichen Itza is the Ik Kil Cenote. With its crystal clear turquoise waters and lush greenery cascading down its walls, it offers visitors a respite from the heat of the tropical landscape. Ik Kil is 200 feet in diameter and 157 feet deep. Visitors take a winding rock staircase down to the pool of fresh water that was approximately 72 degrees on the days that we were there, but reportedly never really gets above 80 anyway, so it's certainly a refreshing dip. Surrounding the cenote, hanging vines and exotic plants create a picturesque setting, adding to its allure and truly making you feel as if you might be on the brink of another world. Between the drive there and back, exploring the ruins, and taking the time to take a dip in the cenote, this excursion will take a full day. We left at 8 a.m. and returned to our hotel at 7 p.m. that night, utterly exhausted and sore. It is not for the faint of heart, but you return with a feeling of immense satisfaction. Visiting Chichen Itza may not have been something that was on my radar before this trip, but it is now something I rave about. As a history buff and art enthusiast, these ruins and the surrounding landscape have left their mark on me. From the intricate architecture of El Castillo to the tranquil beauty of Ik Kil Cenote. Each aspect of this journey sparked an appreciation for the rich history and natural wonders of the Yucatan Peninsula. While I initially embarked on this adventure with little knowledge or expectations, and believe me, there are some things I wish I had known before I went that's going to be in my next blog post, I returned with a newfound sense of wonder and curiosity about the ancient Maya and their enduring legacy. Visiting Chichen Itza and Ik Kil Cenote has not only been a check mark on my daughter's quest to visit the new 7 wonders of the world, but has also enriched our mother-daughter bond and created memories that we will cherish for a lifetime. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. And if you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button because you are not going to want to miss a single video that I have coming your way.